I want to do something a bit different today, and that is, and I'll get to the reason in a moment, but sometime back I recall telling you about cameras that I have, and I have a few. I mostly use this one that I'm using now, which is the S5, and also the GH5, which I use, both Panasonic. But I have a number of others, and you've seen some of them. One is the Fuji XS10, which is the one I use with the fisheye lens. I have a Pentax K1 Mark II. I have a Canon 5D Mark III. And they're principally used for still photography, but they'll both take video. It's just it tends to be a lower resolution than the Panasonic, which I'm using. But I also have a Panasonic GF1 now. That's this camera here, and there's a kind of a sentimental attachment to this one as well, in that this had belonged to my brother who passed in 2023, and he had given it to me in 2022 when he bought the Fuji XS10, which is the one that which I now have, he left for me. This one here, I have it set on black and white for black and white photography, but I recently watched a series on Netflix called Ripley, and it's a remake of, I think there was a movie, and it might have been Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyway, it was called Very Talented Mr. Ripley, I believe. But it's based on a book. And this was a remake set in 1960 sometime, 61, 62, I believe, in which this fellow called Tom Ripley goes to Italy, and the story unfolds, but the entire thing is shot in black and white, and it kind of led me to think, I wonder if I could re-explore black and white video as I had explored black and white photography in the 80s with film cameras. So what I thought I might do is break this out, and we'll make a short vid of some black and white footage, in particular making use of filters. Now, I don't use many filters. I mean, probably the only one that most people would use would be a polarizing filter, which is this one. But with black and white, you can also use colored filters, because you won't get a color cast, but you will get a change in the way that the black and white or greys are represented. So red, blue, green, and yellow. And what happens, of course, is that, say for example, if you use a green, it filters out the green and represents it as pretty well white. But if you use a red, it takes a blue sky and turns it into black. And I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, this is just the straight black and white. And there'll be a considerable difference in the quality, given that the lens on the GF1 is a 14-42 kit lens, Panasonic, but they're not the same kind of quality as we might get on the 20-60 that I'm using on the S5. But this is straight black and white. So this is with the blue filter, which, if all goes according to plan, should make my brown eyes blue. No, it should make my blue shirt white. Now you're looking at me through the green filter. Now yellow. And now red. And you'll see from those that while the black and white remains black and white with all the various shades of grey, the contrast between the colours changes a fair bit. And what we might do now is take a look at the sky, and in particular try it with the polarising filter. And while it won't change the way the colours are represented any, it does darken a blue sky through the polarising of the light rays. And we should see, if we use it in combination with the red filter, a sky that's pretty near black. It's getting a fairly dramatic sky without any filters at all. What happens when we put on a red filter? Then if we add to that the polarizing filter, the polarizing filter doesn't do a great deal to clouds, but it does change the color of the blue. So you can see the intensity of the blue changing as we spin the polarizing filter. And the other thing a polarizing filter does too is remove reflection. So here, for example, on the bus window, you can see the trees are reflected. But as we spin through, you can see right through the window. I think it's a good start point for a test vid. So let's get this one uploaded, and then we'll also explore some of this a little more. You can clearly see the limitations of the GF1. First of all, it's a micro 4/3 camera with a very much smaller sensor than the S5. Second, the resolution is very much lower. The video only records in 720p compared to either 1080p or 4K for the S5. And of course, being a color camera, the black and white is represented fairly softly. It does give us a good basis to start with, and I think gives us an idea of what we might do if we explore it further with a camera such as, say, the Pentax K Mark II, for which I have a number of legacy lenses.